Battle Royale games. Love them or hate them, it would seem they're very much here to stay, and everyone and his dog is trying to capitalize and invest in Battle Royale, either a standalone game thrown together quickly or with actual finesse, and sometimes just tacked on to an already existing game. They are definitely here to stay, and everybody wants a piece of that pie. And so when Battlefield 5 was announced, we heard that we're going to get a Royale mode, which was met with a mixed reception. A lot of people are happy about it, some people not so much. Some people just want Battlefield, and they don't want any changes beyond what you would already expect from a new Battlefield game. Some people just did not care for Battle Royale. I, for one, was not one of those people. I was super excited. I still am, and now we finally have some actual details to sink our teeth into because Battlefield has finally, well, DICE has finally revealed some actual information, and it's really interesting. Some of it's slightly concerning, but some of it is actually really interesting. So, the nitty-gritty. It's not actually being developed by DICE. I assume they are having some kind of overview, some input on it, but it's actually going to be developed by Criterion Games. If you remember them, most of the time they're sort of doing side jobs, as it were, for other game companies, other games, doing things like sorting out the driving or flying for a particular game. They haven't had their own game for a little while now. And the only FPS game of theirs that I can really recall was Black, which was really good, very underrated, but hardly anyone played it. But given their pedigree for that particular game and how good it was and how good their driving games tend to be, I am super excited that they're involved and very glad that DICE isn't having to put resources to one side in order to kind of develop two games. They can concentrate on what they do best, which is doing the Battlefield series, and Criterion is taking over the Battle Royale side of things. And, like I said, today we got some very interesting details. Well, we did have that little teaser trailer of the Ring of Fire, which must act as the game's blue zone, the ever-shrinking zone. We didn't really get much beyond that, apart from the suggestion that there was going to be a tank, and there is! But we'll get to that in just a second. So, what have they said? They've said you're going to be able to wage war in a Ring of Fire that slowly shrinks the battlefield. Don't get trapped. So I'm assuming at this point that it's going to be a proper dangerous Ring of Fire. So I'm assuming there's not going to be any of that running outside into the zone and back in again. Or maybe there will. But if you're going to be on fire, it would probably... I don't know. It would probably be not very long that you can do it. So it's not going to be like a lot of other Battle Royale games where you can just run outside the zone for what seems like an extraordinary length of time and just keep spamming heals. It looks like if you go out in this, you're probably going to die pretty quickly, which is great because, you know, some people like myself get really annoyed that some people, you know, have found ways and means to stay out in the zone for as long as possible and then to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Interestingly, they have not said anything about solos or duos. It's going to be squads. 16 squads, so it's going to be 64 players in groups of 4. Now that's really interesting because that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. There's a lot of people that just want to play Battle Royale on their own and try to be the last man standing. Some people like to play in duos or trios. If that's not going to be an option and you're going to have to play randoms, I think that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way and they're not going to be happy. On the other hand though, if you've got 4 friends that you can bring into this, 4 players versus squads of 4, 64 players sounds perfectly fine. A lot of people have been like, oh, well, PUBG and everything else is like 100 players. Yes, and look how well those games run half the time, and look how well the servers perform with the desync and stuff. The Frostbite engine is really good, and I think that they seem to have got this perfect point of 64 players that seems to work once they've got everything working correctly. So I think that's going to be perfectly fine. But they have said that this is going to be the largest Battlefield map to date. So it looks like it's going to launch whenever it launches, probably not with the main game, but it's definitely linked to the main game. It's not going to be standalone, as far as we know, or at least for now. It looks like it's going to have to be part of Battlefield 5. Again, something that's going to rub some people the wrong way. There's plenty of people that will want to play the Firestorm mode as a standalone thing. They might not be interested in the rest of Battlefield. But I guess they're probably just going to look at Call of Duty and say, well, Call of Duty's doing it as an all-in-one game, so I guess we are as well. With it being a very large map, is 64 players going to be enough? I don't know. I think some of the details are gonna be very, 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 very subjective, because until we actually see it, until we actually play it, it just sounds good or bad at this point. So they've also stated that the game-changing addition of battlefield vehicles lets you wipe out unsuspecting squads with a tank, or drive to survive with transport vehicles. The thing with the tank is, I think that's going to be very difficult to balance, because the last thing you want is to be the last squad alive, or the last person in your squad alive, and then some dude just rolls up in a tank. I assume there's going to be RPGs and such to help take out tanks. I assume that the ammunition for the tank is not going to be unlimited, but it sounds like this is going to be a balancing nightmare. But again, we'll see. Until we actually see it, we don't really know how it's going to play, but it does sound as if that could be a bit much. Another interesting feature that they're talking about, which again has had a mixed reception to say the least, is that you can work together as your squad to secure objectives that grant better and rare gear. Now, they have said that there's definitely going to be actual gear to pick up, because you're not going to spawn in with anything. But the idea of doing objectives to secure some extra gear, or vehicles and whatnot, sounds very much like something like Arma Wasteland, or Arma 3's Wasteland mode, where you'd have a bunch of players on a map. It wasn't necessarily a battle royale, but it was everyone fighting, but there was the option of missions where you could just go do your own thing, or fight players that are also trying to do their own thing and take over the mission, for example. It sounds like a double-edged sword. It could be an interesting way to have more action on the map, less downtime of people running around, driving around, and obviously bring up some hotspots to either, camp to get your kills, or do it to get some extra gear. So, depending on how they do it, this could either be a really good thing, or a really bad thing. I guess time will tell, and we'll have to wait and see on that one. And of course, the thing that I'm most excited for as a Battle Royale fan is the Frostbite engine and destruction. No more waiting for people to come out of a house when you could just blow the house up and watch it fall apart and crush the person inside. This is going to be game-changing when it comes to Battle Royale, because very, very few of them have any actual bullet penetration, and certainly none of them tend to have any real destruction beyond a few things like boxes and stuff that might shatter. Having the Frostbite engine, I think, could be amazing, and I'm really genuinely really looking forward to seeing what they do here. And again, according to the press release, the matches are tied to your company and your Battlefield 5 progression. So just because you're doing stuff over in the normal Battlefield 5 mode doesn't mean you're not earning points for the other mode, and vice versa, going by that sentence. Or at least stuff that you do in Battle Royale is going to unlock stuff, like maybe some special costumes, for example, or rare customization, for example, possibly. Again, we don't really know, but going by that sentence, it's all going to be tied together. So you could totally ignore one thing, or do a bit of both, which I imagine a lot of people probably will do. It's also not just tanks in that game mode. They have said there's going to be the Panzer tank, but they've also stated that if you can find something with wheels, you can drive it into battle, or plot an escape. So presumably that means almost any vehicle you find in the map is going to be drivable. Or if it doesn't have wheels, obviously it's not going to be drivable. So I imagine there's still going to be some broken vehicles, but hopefully it's going to be easy to tell what's what. And of course, that's the usual thing, like pre-order bonuses. So they've got a new pre-order bonus with a new Ranger set, special assignment, a paratrooper outfit, and immediate access to 5 Battlefield 1 weapons. For whatever reason, you might want to pre-order for that kind of thing. And other than that, guys, that is the long and short of it. Nothing special. We've got no extra screenshots, no extra video, but we've got a wall of text to read and then ponder what it's going to be. As far as we've seen from that little snippet in the trailer, it looks like a dark, dingy, snowy map that we're going to get, which has a few different variations in height and stuff. Again, given what they're saying about the size of the map, this could go one of two ways. It could be a case of you struggle to find people, or you're going to have time for downtime to actually go get some loot and then drive over to some of these missions and stuff, come across people and have fights. Again, it looks like it's going to be a Battle Royale game with a little bit of a twist, with a little bit of a difference, something to actually make it unique, which is better than just the whole copy-paste PUBG thing that a lot of games seem to have gone for. They're doing something different, and while some people don't like it and couldn't give a toss about it, I for one am actually excited and interested to see what they do with this. And hopefully Criterion can pull it off. So that's a bit about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the footage. It's playing in the background, and my ramblings and thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
He's gone out. Have this smoke grenade.
Smoke grenade, interesting move. This might actually work. Okay. Well, I rescued everybody else. My job was done. Can I get a res? Thank you, my good man.